topical issue, and we like the politics. So go right ahead and punch.
I want to decide come inside of the studio to punch. Pierre, I picked it up on the side of the road that yesterday was the sod turning ceremony for that project in Livra. The project where so many members of the NDC are up in arms against. The project, the sod was turned yesterday. And the interesting thing is that the project, which is done by Chinese, what I understand, it's done by Chinese, but it is really and truly a project from Singapore. The investors are Singapore people. But what is interesting yesterday, information reaching me indicates that prizes or gifts, I should put it like that, were given to the officials, the government officials who are there. And I understand that there would have been Mr. Dennis Cornwall, parliamentary representative for the St. Patrick East, Mr. Andol, who is for St. Patrick's West. The Prime Minister was there and maybe one or two other ministers. And what happened yesterday is very interesting. The gifts were given and accepted. And I understand that the gifts are gold-plated shovels, each one costing within the region of $25,000 to $30,000. These gifts were given based on my information, Pierre. The trick is they were accepted. But I don't know if you remember that around the Christmas, when gifts were given, one person came out and said, I don't want it, and sent it back. We were not told whether or not gifts were sent to government officials. But remember that the person who is in charge of the CBI, that's the person who gave back the gifts. Will the government ministers who received the gifts yesterday, would they give them back? Pierre, you need to tell me because I finished punch.
Yes, this is a pretty interesting development. And I've always said that the biggest challenge for us is immaturity, exuberance. And when individuals believe that they are perfect, they are white as snow, and you could condemn everybody. So we'll have to wait and see. Who knows? Sometime we might sell the gifts and give back the people $150. If the poor people, if the gifts are that valuable, obviously you cannot and give back the people $150. The government of the day always have to remember that practically steal the money from the elderly. The National Democratic Congress have a history of hostility against the marginalized, a history. So maybe this is a good opportunity. Whatever gift you get, including some of the recommendations that I have made for cutting costs, because you must give the people back the $150. You stole $150 from the elderly. You with violence. In the month of December, you reassured them that they will get the money. And in January, less than a month later, in the line, while they was in the line, you didn't even have the decency to inform them before they come. While they were in line and they received the money and they went back to the counter to say they make a mistake, they say, no, that money you have to get. Some of them, a few of them shed tears. Those who shed tears must have dealt with it. Those who walk away quietly, nobody knows how they feel. Those who were not able to go and receive the money and send a bearer, whether it was their children or the person who taking care of them, because they could not leave their beds to go to collect the money for themselves. Imagine the news. When you reach home and you tell them, you don't get $4.50, it's $3.50 you get. It's the same feeling that the gentleman that was used in 2008 to advertise, to inform the elderly, to vote for the National Democratic Congress, and they'll give you $450. They never give them the $450. Elder man, they put him to ridicule because the neighbors that was of a different political persuasion used to pass and call in the veranda. You get it. You get the $4.50 they promise you. They taunt him. He died. I guess he felt the same way Dr. Jal felt when he was arrested and put in jail. The National Democratic Congress have a history of being hostile towards people in the lower economic strata. Now today in our society, yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Great, man.
Well, we go have a good little conversation today.
Go right ahead, punch.
Yeah, I want to invite you to our convention on Sunday, please, Lord.
When you invite me to a convention, the convention normally has two parts. You cannot go to the convention if you're not a member of a political party. And I'm not a member of any political party.
I know.
So you can't invite me there. Sometimes, are you a delegate in the meeting?
Well, not really, but I still go ask you.
Well, you
when
can.
I go around.
Yes, but there's sometimes the party have a convention and then they have a public meeting after.
Yeah,
Would there be a public meeting after?
Yes.
Right, so you could invite me in the public meeting.
Well, that's the public meeting I want to invite
well,
you.
Well, not the convention.
Yes.
The convention is where you go and you're able to select what are the officers. So what are the offices that are up for election?
Yeah. What, Mr. Pierre, I have a question for you.
Go right ahead.
Now, me and you in boundary line, like land thing, Now, you vine coming to my land, my vine going to your land. Is there any problem of that? Vine not running on the ground. Well, you notify them what we should done stop with and tie our pants with long time. The man they call your vine.
When we living in peace, when we in donkey glory, we don't have no problem. Normally, when people living in peace and goodwill, I could even go and pick your jelly and suck it or cut your cane if and you won't mind. But when we living at war, that's when the problem comes in.
Alright, but this one is not war. And I did not plant the vine. You did not plant it. Everybody come on earth. We meet while we meet. Now, it's our farmer Thursday to tell you what a man hate me.
Caller, one of the biggest challenge we have in the world is people fighting for land and woman. The only two things in the world that is valuable to fight for is land and woman. Nothing else. You see, Russia, this war that's going on with Russia, with Ukraine is for boundary. In Israel, China in the Pacific Sea, Japan, United States of America, all over the world from centuries, man is fighting for land. So the only two things valuable in the world is land and woman.
All right. Yeah, because my deceased uncle told me, he said, boy, you see land and water and that is a big problem. But Mr. Pierre, I'm not fighting for land.
But caller, if I come and take the home where you live in, you won't fight.
Huh?
If I take you out of the house where you live in and take it, you won't fight.
If I want to fight you?
You wouldn't fight for your house.
Well, I would not pull guns
would you fight for it?
Yes.
But that is land. That is land. And water is considered as land.
Yeah, but I'm saying, no, Mr. Pierre, I find this man is that I mean, this respectful me.
Well, let me tell you something.
I have to take out my vine.
Caller,
My vine running in his
caller.
Yeah.
Look at the economic importance of it and just ignore it. If it is not so, if it doesn't affect you too much, don't worry, just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Not tell me now, pay somebody to cut the vine.
Yeah,
I find too much out.
Caller, look at the economic importance. You have something, you get costing you $50. So don't bother with it, just go home and
leave the vine, let the vine run wherever east, west, north, south, left, right, center.
Yeah.
And the next one again, Mr. Pierre, ask you.
Go ahead, man. Ask me anything.
Okay, now we're separating and problem towards politics and things. Inside of the church now, did they have a separation inside of the church?
But don't you know Paul and Mark, Barnabas or one of them, the separation was not, they break up, they couldn't reconcile. So you have separation all about.
Yeah, but what I'm saying now, Mr. Pierre, yellow, green, everybody sitting on the same bench or the same chair on Saturday and Sunday, whatever. I mean, so why we have to fight?
But remember, yellow and green lie down on the same bed too. They travel in the same vehicle, and yellow fine green, and yellow still fine green, and yellow and green lie down the same bed. You see, when we tell you that these things gonna just break up the community like a creeks, because a lot of green now complaining that yellow fire them. And yellow saying, well, you fire me, and we breaking up the community.
All right, well, let us finish this point on the last thing. So why, like, yellow don't dress in the clothes on Sunday morning and green dress and separate inside of the church? So now we will see who is green and who is yellow.
Well, you know who is green and yellow? You don't come in church. And you know who is green and yellow in the community?
Yeah.
And you know why you to go to church for that?
No, but I'm saying it's too much problems with we. Now, I mean, we party win the election. There's a lot of problem.
Well, the Greens say you fire them. Culture man. Yep, they fire 10 people in the source of pest control in Maryville. They fire 30 people on Granby Estate. You think all these 30 people is green?
Well,
you think all this? Don't tell me you don't know. All of us in the community,
I
we
never
know.
go in this place over there on the ground.
But we know, culture man, you is a political activist just as me, you know.
A changes must take place. You must expect that. A changes must take
right.
place.
So
they are ripping off the thing that them too much. Marketing board get rip off. Now I mean,
so you fire all the green.
Getting
so you off. Culture, you believe it's green that giving all the trouble?
Well, I will say no. One is on the green side. Problem is on the other side.
All right. So culture, yellow in power now. Let us suppose they fire all the green. Let us make sure yellow succeed. Well, so they can't blame green again because they fire all the green again trouble.
Give them a chance to space the people and let they clean up the swamp.
So right. So the guys who fire. You don't expect them to complain?
But sometimes now,
the 30 people on Granby Estate, the 10 from Maryville, and the others, you don't expect them to go home and they have to eat stewing and sunsas. You don't expect them to go home.
That's a good question, but I'm telling you again.
Who you think helping them? Culture man.
So
culture.
Mr. Pierre.
You from the community. That is the government policy. The government win election, we accept that. But you don't expect the people lose their company?
I mean, yes.
You ever ask yourself, those women from Paul's and those women that was involved in the caregiving program and the wardens that lose their job, how they living now? You ever ask yourself that?
All right, Mr. Pierre, some of them now in the police clothes now, which is the red stripe. Some of the warden on them. I see some of my friends on them who used to work in the bus terminals and wherever was on the road they is in the police force now.
All of them get job in the police force?
I saw them.
Culture man.
People coming now.
Right, well, that is good. If they fire them and they employ them,
and
that is
you
good.
know, you're supposed to know that the force does make a change in when, like, you time it, they take new people, fresh people, because some people, they trained to be in the police force. Because I see a lot of warden with the police clothes on them. Even a good friend of my own.
All right, so let us hope that we want the government to do things right, because we want the country develop, we want agriculture move. So let us hope and pray that the policies of the government is productive.
Yeah, but we have to give them a chance, Mr. Pierre.
What chance they want? The 1 year they're in power, they're doing.
They walk in.
All right,
Mr. Pierre, they walk in.
Culture.
They walk in. Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah.
You notice I am not one who ever speak about bad roads.
I want you to talk
about culture.
Yeah.
You notice I am not one who speak about bad roads. You notice that. You know from ever since. I always saying the road good.
Yeah.
Right. So when you say give the government a chance, you mean green must hush them out?
Give them a chance.
You mean they must hush them out?
Now they're in office because I find the people is walking.
All right.
They're
thank
walking.
You. Okay.
Now I'm in roads. They're doing. Now I'm in schools. Now I'm in other things.
You know, culture man, you're not concerned about the people who lose their job. Culture man. All right, he ends. He's not there. Yes, it's a significant discussion. The government, political activists, is very supportive of the government policy. A number of people have lost their job. We are concerned about that. A new government come, they have a policy of restorative justice. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
You're 1 hour. You're one man keeping up the program.
Yeah, but it's
and the one man not telling you nothing.
Yeah.
That man telling you that it's like that man mean no one war in the country. That not the business, you know.
No, it is.
Red man follow only on the own stuff, you know.
But it's always good to find out the mentality of individuals. That's important, you know.
I don't want you to tell me what to tell me. You have 1 hour to talk. And if you have 1 hour to talk, you have to let somebody say what they say. Then you cut the tax shot and you continue. That's what I mean.
All right, we go start to adopt that policy. Okay.
No, but you have to let people say what they got to say, because that man don't say nothing to educate you.
Yeah, thank you.
You don't care about who foul, who up, who down. If calling on the radio station, how much money, if he sell, how much cocoa he sell, how much money he sell, how much money, and he don't care about the other behind. It's like he don't care about himself, like he care about nobody. If you listen to him.
Yeah.
You know, in NMP time, ask him what NMP gives him. But you want to come and lambast NMP now. Then the thing that the matter get me vexed.
Yeah, don't get vexed. So the program, we mustn't get angry.
We don't have to get angry, but tap into for me to educate myself.
All right, thank you, caller. Let's go.
All right.
Yeah. Yes, you can pick up the telephone and give us a call. The number to call is 442-0175. And you will speak about any subject matter, and we can speak about it. One of the, it's a very emotional time for some people. A new government come in power. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. Punch.
Mr. Pierre, good day.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Yeah, about 2 weeks I didn't get a call.
Yes, true.
Yeah, but I didn't get to listen to the program live, but I know I follow it on YouTube. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same man called him, and he before election, he said he was calling for the vote for NC so for higher price for you get more better price for cocoa and the other half, and I hear he complaining he want price and he don't work land because but he called for that. But I tell him they promise everybody permanent job, and then they come back and fire them. That you didn't have to go through long talk. You know what I say? You promise them everybody will make prominent. They don't need to hire a public service or all that kind of thing. Everybody will make prominent. You don't tell that and say why you find people want to promise all them prominent. Yeah. So the pretty matter is that you see I didn't get a chance to elaborate and Haiti thing. That thing touched me when they put back them.
Yes, man.
To me, I feel well. Them people might hear the call when he address the United Nations on their behalf. They might hear the call, so they say, like, there's somebody for us. So the final destination has to be the country. The person not call for us. We go in the country and see what's going on. But I like how you put it. We're not we as people. We just have a fake in the country. I laugh when they say that. But it's time for it to pull up on the set, man. If you say something now, prove to the people that you mean what you say and not just show not words just for your satisfaction. No. That would you shouldn't treat black people so, man. At all. I don't like that at all. Nothing got me to see you treat black people. At least you give them a little hearing and say, well, look, we will give all our money still and we will see what little help we will get for all the big guys. And what I understand is more women. See, that'd be nice. I even say if they distribute them to each parish, like a 2 person to each parish, they are making somewhere there. If you don't to fracture the family, it's a family that come to. You can keep them in one place. You understand? But that the real touch is sad to see. But after a man addressing the nation and plead on their behalf, and in the end come back on now, boy. Well, I don't know how to say this. So that means he lied for them people and them.
Yeah,
I find during his early age, maybe he get a lot of woman because he could like good boy. What? So because the men are lying good get a woman.
Yeah.
Take him to
Yes, this one was a shocker. The Prime Minister's attitude towards the Haitian was a shocker. The entire Caribbean was shocked because the Prime Minister a few days before in the United Nations was doing as if he will be the grand knight for the deliverance of Haiti. And with the same vein, he expelled the Haitian. The final destination was Grenada. 15 of them. They had a little money, but not enough. Yes, caller, welcome.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
I'm a first-time caller, but...
Thank you very much.
I have a song Mr. Philman brother sings, Mr. Philman Thomas.
Yeah.
I want to play that song and play it for the Canadian people to hear and that they could understand what it is.
Mr. What is this?
It ended with Haiti, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, I think the Prime Minister really let down Grenadians. And it convinced me that the Prime Minister of Grenada is a fake. We bought a cat in a bag. All of us are guilty. All of us, NNP, NDC, all the whole Grenadians. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
Yes, caller, welcome.
I'm hearing of this reparation.
Reparation.
And they're talking about the European countries having to pay the Caribbean so much money or anything like that.
Yeah.
How come those people who sell our foreparents into slavery don't have to pay?
Well, those African leaders should pay too, caller, in full agreement with you.
Well, I don't understand all this noise they're making about reparation. I don't hear nobody saying anybody say Ali Gill. Nobody not saying West Africa or Africa. They have to pay.
They sold us in slavery.
And they should pay the most.
Yes. And they were selling slaves for 700 years before the European gone by.
Exactly. They had a product for sale. They must sell and the people buy. Hey. All right, thank you, Mr. Pierre.
Yes. Yes, caller, and that's a very important factor. A lot of people believe slavery started with the Europeans. The Africans always selling out the people. For 700 years, before the Europeans enter Africa to buy slaves, the Africans were selling slaves. A lot of the Arabs used to castrate the male Africans. They castrate them. The Europeans put them on a farm to breed, to make more. But I think the greatest culprit in the slave trade was our forefathers that sold us in slavery. And this is why I take the strongest objection to the hostility of the National Democratic Congress towards the elderly, the physically challenged, and disadvantaged children in our country. The National Democratic Congress have a history. They have a history of always exercising hostility towards the elderly, the marginalized, and disadvantaged children. In 1962, the mother of the NDC, then they informed Grenadian we're going to go unitary state. We're going to join up with Trinidad. And what was the law they presented? That we're going to get same pay like Trinidadians. Grenadians gravitated towards that cause. In 1990, the National Democratic Congress in the Structural Adjustment Program cut social program and fire the workers on the government estates. And when they do that, private people on the estate use the opportunity to get rid of the workers. In 2008, the National Democratic Congress, that have a history of being hostile towards the people in the lower income group, promised the people in the Imanis that they will get $1,000. $1,000. I believe at that time they was getting $700. And they promised the elderly in the country that they will get $450. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, how are you?
Great, man.
Yes, as you, excuse me, as you're talking, if you remember, when the NNP came on the mayor, remember, Breezan and them took back land from all springs and give back Bola and so forth. I don't know if you could remember that too.
Yes, I remember.
You know, they always take it back from the poor man and give it back.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a history they have.
Yes.
You see,
You're sure right.
And they have to break that cycle. But they have not broken it. Yeah. And in 2022, the National Democratic Congress promised they will make everybody permanent. And they're going to give everybody pension. And there is no need for contract workers. And they claim you're going to be able to go in the bank and get loan. And that was a real law. It was not easy to resist that. And they won election. And within 1 month, they start firing the women of Carriacou. They removed the pay from the elderly. Although by December, the minister who is a descendant of Labour and a descendant of a hero, Miss Joss, she promised in the house, you will get your $150 will continue. And within a month, they refused the people and they're trying to justify it. This is a history of the National Democratic Congress. They say to the Imani program, the people involved in the Imani, we make a political mistake in 2008. But this time, they need to fire the Imani. They say all those who over 35 have to go. And some of the members are trying to justify that. You know, it's so sad. When you have a political party, I don't think there is any political party in the Caribbean that have this disease to go after the weak ones, the elderly ones, the physically marginalized and disadvantaged children in our society. This must not be taken into isolation. The government seems to have no regards, no respect for workers in the lower income group. That is why it was so easy for the government to close down marketing board. 100 workers employed did not cause them to blink. The 10 workers from Maribor Agriculture that involve in pest management unit. The government practically sabotaging the source of trade. And some of the rumors going around now about millions of dollars is difficult. It's difficult to understand. And I always appeal to members of the National Democratic Congress. Find out why. Why is it you're supporting a political entity that seems the biggest policy to go after the weak, the marginalized elderly, and disadvantaged children? It's difficult for somebody, politicos and political activists, they can't even defend it. It's difficult for them to defend it. The government set up the ministry, a whole ministry, because of political mission. And it's called MIT, Restorative Justice. You hear words like detoxification and sanitization. What sort of language is that? And people are being victimized. We have a police force in Grenada that was doing a very good job, that had a good reputation. I don't think anybody in Grenada or the Caribbean would challenge that. Because of the level of crime in Grenada, the police in Grenada has been doing a very good work. I listen to police, some of them they don't even have a stripe. I've listened to them on radio, trying to inform the public on different issues, which is very good. The police has become very interactive with the public. The level of crime in Grenada is seriously managed when you compare it with the rest of the Caribbean. So we have to say the police has been doing a relatively good job. So the government should build on it. But some of the things we hear now, it brings about sad news. But I want to advise the police. Not advice. Police won't take advice from an ordinary rustic like me. But I want to put on the table for consideration, for discussion, that police must seek an additional source of income. If you're a policeman, particularly when you have a government that decide to use political mischief as part of the policies. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. We lost that caller. I'll try back again. Somehow or the other we lost you. When you have a government that decide to institute political organization, a policeman enter in the force, a policeman in the force must seek an additional source of income. There are a number of ideas we can put on the table of additional source of income. You mustn't put all your eggs in one basket. Your job now become more politically suspect. For the first time in post-1983, the government seems to institute political victimization. And because the police is like a contact sport, the police must seek additional source of income that does not come in conflict with your job. And we have a lot of them, about 20 of them. But one of them is to enter the field of beekeeping. Beekeeping is a very good economical venture to enter. Every policeman who spent a year, 2 or 3 in the police force have enough money, could amass enough money to get involved in beekeeping without even taking a loan. But if you're a policeman and you have a job, it's also easy to get a small loan. With an investment of $20,000 in beekeeping, you can enter beekeeping with a bang. You see, beekeeping is one of the fields in agriculture that is not very time consuming. And if you stay away, once you establish your hives or your apiaries, if you happen to stay away from it for a week or two, it would not have serious negatives. If you try that with fowls, if you don't feed your fowls for 1 week, all them dead. Your pig, your cattle, your cow, your duck. If you don't feed them for 1 week, they're gone through. If you don't visit some vegetable short crop for 1 week, disease and pests and animals and other issues could destroy you. But you could be walking in Koo and your bees are in Grenada. Because every time you get a pass, you could come down and attend to it. It's a very profitable thing. From one hive, one good hive, you could get between 5 and 20 gallons of honey. 5 to 20 gallons of honey. But I like to be conservative. So I like to speak about the minimum, 5 gallons. And it's not very expensive, as I said. You see a lot of policemen buying their cars. So sometime, and a car might cost you over $25,000. And if you look at the maintenance costs for it over 3 years, and then the value of the car after 3 years, how you spend $25,000 for, and spend $25,000 on for 3 years, must be value about $5,000 after that. But if you invest in beekeeping, after 3-4 years, you could have 100 hives. And it's easy to get a payoff all your expenditure in 3 years. You hardly could do that with any other vegetable production that you invest an equivalent sum in. Beekeeping could also be considered therapeutic because you're involved in a job that is like a contact sport. Beekeeping as a hobby is almost therapeutic. Beekeeping is a good family venture where your entire family could get involved in it. You, the policeman, could concentrate on honey production alone because you don't have time. You're working in Carriacou, you have hives in Grenada. You're working in Gove, you have hives in St. George's. You're working in St. David, you have hives in St. Max. In your time off alone, you can keep your hives and you could count on honey production. While your wife or another member of your family. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
And how are you doing?
Good, man.
Listen to me. I was thinking about what the Prime Minister did to the people in Haiti. Right? After you come from the UN and you tell them that they are not doing enough, now you get the opportunity to show the world what you could do and what's supposed to be done. This is the way you treat them. I don't know if you can remember clearly the lady that died on a carnage when the bus went down in the water. Do you know that she was the wife of a Haitian living in Whitegate in St. John?
No, I didn't know.
There is Haitian here. So if you had accepted the Haitians, you're not too sure. Sometimes the one in Whitegate could be a family member. You didn't give the people a chance to say anything. You just, not even a night you make them spend. As you always say, this man is a fake.
Yeah, he's a fake.
And I will stand with your word, he's a fake.
Yeah. And it's so sad because the embarrassment, he has caused Grenada undue embarrassment. You see, every Haitian that got educated know that Henry Christophe was a Grenadian. The first black king, the first king in Haiti was a Grenadian. He came from St. Andrews, from Maribor, Sans Souci estate. And I think one of the, either the parliament building or some big noted building in Haiti is called Sans Souci. So every child that go to school know about that. Throughout the whole Caribbean, Haiti is like, you have two bouquets of flowers. One of them is Haiti, and Caribbean leaders don't want to look at it. But it's easy for men to talk the talk, but they don't walk the talk. And a number of things that this Prime Minister in Grenada have done, that after following him up and studying him, and after he came to the budget that I described the day after as a disaster for people in the lower income group, you've seen it unfold now. They remove $150 from the low income, marginalized, elderly people. When you listen to the language expressed by the National Democratic Congress leaders, it is very insulting language, despicable, disparaging remarks, treating the elderly in all sort of negative way, calling them lazy, as if them is suck-tete people. All sort of negative reference have been made to them. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre,
yes.
good afternoon. Yeah, Mr. Pierre, remember before the election, you have the Grenadians in the diaspora was threatening the formerly Grenadians to vote for NDC. And if they do that, they will stop sending out things for them. So see now that the government send them home because they encourage the farmers to vote for NDC. And NDC win and the government send them home. What they should do, make sure that they send out things for the family here. Right? So you see, the own family deceive them, encourage them to vote for this government right now. And they're out of a job. So if you make them out of a job, you should be taking care of the family greater. Right? So
Yeah.
that's my piece.
Yeah, I don't like the word threatening. I think they was encouraging the people strongly. Now, we operate with a lot of passion. And the diaspora was very active supporting the National Democratic Congress. But you have people in the diaspora that was NNP too. Not only NDC that had organization in the diaspora, you had a lot of NNP in the diaspora too, encouraging the people to vote NNP. Whereas the NDC diaspora encouraging the people to vote NDC. And I know all of them are disappointed. The people in the diaspora are very disappointed in Deacon. Sometimes they they still support the NDC. They hope it against hope that Deacon get a change on the Damascus Road. The action against Haiti was an embarrassment to them too. Not only us in Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent, Trinidadian, and all shocked how Grenada could treat Haiti so. After the Prime Minister spoke in glowing terms in the United Nations, and 2 days, I think, after, he was going again in CARICOM to speak on it. But these are just words. It don't mean nothing to the Prime Minister. That's why I say he's a fake. He interferes with Maurice Bishop's spirit. Any neophyte religious person knows that the circumstances under which Maurice Bishop died, you should never interfere with his spirit. You should pray for his soul to rest in peace. He died under traumatic circumstances. You think it's easy to watch a pregnant woman appealing to the people who are executing them, have a child, have compassion, have mercy on me. and they still shoot her down. Bishop didn't turn his face. They asked him to turn against the wall. He said, not turn. And one of the individuals couldn't shoot him. And next one grabbed the gun. So Bishop would have died under shock, betrayal, traumatic circumstances, bitterness, hate, and vengeance. You don't interfere with a spirit like that. You don't interfere with it. And who knows if this spirit must cause Deacon to be more decrepit. He have lost his way. Look at the manner in which he turned on the elderly and take out their money without justification against any good advice. He took 75 million and give it to pensioners. The court say they have to get it. But one had to deal with the economic realities. And if he could have given them in phases, maybe at 10 or 20% in cash, you give in bonds, to mature in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You could have encouraged organization to buy the bonds and give the pensioners the cash. They could have sold the bonds on the open market. All sorts of variation. But Deacon Mitchell don't understand that liquidity is an important factor. And the NDC have a history of selling assets to meet current expenditure. And the NDC have a history of being hostile to the elderly, the physically challenged, and the marginalized. And when they are pressured, they do things that is unorthodox. For instance, they cut down Belvedere nutmeg and plant banana against the better advice of agricultural expert. Individuals told them that Belvedere is the first place nutmeg was planted in Grenada. So you have historical and agricultural, economic, and significance because it shows it as a tourist product. They cut down Belvedere nutmeg. And when you speak to them again, they decide to plant banana by the bayside. They say organic. People beg them. If you're going to plant organic banana there, you must introduce cattle to make fertilizer, make manure 2 years before. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, welcome.
Good afternoon to Grenada.
Yes, brother.
First of all, let me congratulate your brother on his award. I understand that he got an award from, I think it's Cuba.
The Chinese, I believe.
Chinese, the highest award ever given to a police officer in Grenada. Hats off to him, and I wish him all the best. Also, we understand that a company in Trinidad that is going to want to partner with Grenada to ship some crops to Trinidad. I welcome that, but I really hope that a proper study, feasibility study, is done, because I don't want it to be something like what was in the hands of the marketing board, and it cannot be properly marketed. That have to be properly marketed and not be politicized.
Caller, is it a Trinidadian company?
That's why they say that. They say that
Trinidad. Or is it a company that want to sell to Trinidad?
No, a Trinidadian company. Yeah. I think it's not that.
Well, we have to be very careful, because a lot of times we just take it, and you and I are a little in tongue now.
Yes,
so we have to be careful.
That's why I said that.
Yeah.
Based on what the news said.
Yeah.
And they say that the Ministry of Agriculture will be responsible for the farmers. I hope a proper job.
But then the Ministry of Agriculture is sponsoring farmers and the marketing board.
Yes. So I really hope that good will come out of it. Because shipping crops to Trinidad can pay Grenada. We have been shipping crops to Trinidad for years.
But we had no company, we just used to ship.
Right. But that's why I'm hoping that the proper structures are put in place, right? So that we can utilize some of our bananas. I mean, if Trinidad could take some bananas from Grenada, it would be a good because there are some farmers still who could do some with bananas. So I'm saying that the possibility looks good, but it must not be hand-picked and politicized.
Color, I think you and I must be very wary and careful on these things unless we get information.
I hope
let them give us thorough information. Let the company don't afraid to say who they are. So it's not a front.
Right.
You know? So other people could take this basket, but we must not do that because we're in Tonglang.
That is why I say that I hope it is properly done, because it can bring benefit to Grenada if it is properly done. Right?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, brother.
Good.
So you know, when you look at all these things, it is sad and it's unfortunate. We have achieved a lot in Grenada over the years. And you want to continue building. You change a government, but you don't want to bring the economy to, it does irreparable damage to the economy. You don't want to destroy the police service. You know, you want to build on it. You want to strengthen. You don't want to go back. And the trajectory that this present government on is suspect to cause serious or irreparable damage to the economy. That's why I encourage policemen, the whole, get involved in the beekeeping industry. Perhaps you could provoke discussion among the hierarchy of the force. I make certain that if the hierarchy of the post show interest in it, they can train. They can even have an APRI where they can train their officers. They can set up an APRI not for money making, but for training officers. And they can get somebody down to do queen rearing. The Ministry of Agriculture, I believe, would be a waste of time on that. The Ministry of Agriculture and the minister, I don't think they know where they're going. I'm not certain they know where they're going. But the police in Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent, beekeeping is an important economic second income owner that you can get involved in. It would not be a conflict of interest. It could also be therapeutic from a beekeeping industry. Let us suppose a beekeeper have 100 hives. He could make over $50,000 per annum from it. But his wife could develop the pollen production. And a pound of pollen is about $40 a pound. And she could safely make $25,000, $30,000 from it. You see, he could do commercial queen rearing and produce over 500 queens per annum and sell them 78 as a queen from the same 100 hives. There is so much we can do from beekeeping. You know, a whole family could get involved. And I believe the policemen, the police force, with all these men who your job is almost like a contact sport. You have the additional pressure of physical victimization. This is a good opportunity for you to get involved in beekeeping. It doesn't take much to start up in beekeeping with a bang. It's very easy for any policeman after 1 year working to get a loan of 20,000. Very easy. Or maybe before you decide to buy a car, get involved in beekeeping, and 3 years after, go and buy a new car. Go and buy a new car. And you could get out of that same venture. You can develop other secondary products that your family can involve in. It's not hard. I challenge you today. Just buy a bee suit. A bee suit might cost you $350. It wouldn't cost you $500. It would not cost you $500. Get a bee suit. Attach yourself to a beekeeper or more than one beekeeper. And go with them. Go with them. Encourage them. I want to learn about beekeeping. After 3-4 months, I'm absolutely certain that you will find the beekeeping is interested enough that you wouldn't even want to sell the bee suit. Even though somebody was paying you the same amount you pay for it, you would not want to sell it. There is so much to learn from it, and it can be a good hobby that can come up with a lot of economic returns. And honey is a sugar. You can use it. We generally use honey as a medicine, but it also used as a sugar. And even if Grenada expand the honey production by 1,000%, the price of honey wouldn't drop. Right now you're paying about $40 for 750 ml bottle. Even if we expand our production by 1,000%, the price of honey is not likely to drop. But just numerically speaking, once you have more bees in the country, or citrus trees, or mango trees, damsel, the cucurbits, you will have greater production and greater uniformity from this group. This information is known to the Ministry of Agriculture 1,000 years ago. But I don't think they're going to change. That is why I'm appealing to the policemen in Grenada, Dominica, St. Vincent and St. Lucia. Get involved in beekeeping. It's a good thing if the high command of the force, could adopt it. Because I'm certain, just from the military, the Americans, the French, you can get assistance from the force. If you ask the French army, they do a lot of research in beekeeping. You can get assistance from them. We could change in the country. We don't have to walk around with a briefcase of certificate and a bag of problem. We don't have to be hostile to the elderly in our country. We don't have to be hostile to the disadvantaged children. We don't have to do that. We could want to help one another. We could develop this country. And who knows? Maybe the Prime Minister may get a rude awakening on the Damascus Road. And he too might change. But all for now, I'm very disappointed. Well, I shouldn't say I'm very disappointed in him, because I did not form an opinion on him. I was waiting to see. He has been sold as a man with deep pockets and contacts. And that has not been realized yet. I see where he snubbed the individual in Barbados, and he's not certain about his foreign policy with Cuba and China. He's kind of confused. You listen to the opening of the program. I didn't make any comment on it. But if they accept gold-plated prices, I expect them to sell it and pay the people the $150. Pay the people the $150. Because the individuals that you took money from, practically in a violent manner, you deceived them. You took $150 from them. They are on their home. Some of them eating stewing and sunsas. And they're waiting for you to give them back your $150. Today is Monday, the first week in Lent. And we do hope that individuals remember that we must make sacrifice. We must give alms. And we must be more charitable. Thank you very much.